Hello ladies and gents, it's EasyEscape, and welcome to the top 10 longest standing world record speedruns. This is a video I've been meaning to make for a while, but I didn't have the motivation to do it because I would have had to go with what would have been an inaccurate list due to the Dragster record dispute. But with that record officially being debunked and removed from the Guinness Book of World Records, I can now present an accurate list completely Todd Rogers free. As a side note, I only included speedruns of full games to ensure that this list wouldn't be entirely individual level speedruns and to include a bit more variety. I also didn't include any tied world records in this list. I will also be putting up some cash bounties for some of these records, so if you think you can beat any of these runs, do it, and send me a link with the video proof on either Twitter or my Discord after it gets accepted on speedrun.com. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy. The first run on this list is any % speedrun of Wasteland by Chaos5482 in 16 minutes on October 7th, 2007. Wasteland is based in a post-apocalyptic setting in which you play as a group known as the Desert Rangers, whose duty is to go out and deal with disturbances in the outside world. This game was also the main inspiration for the Fallout series, which adapted its settings and concepts. As for the world record itself, I really have no idea how good the gameplay is execution-wise or how optimized the route is since this run is completely uncontested, so unfortunately there was nobody I could ask. But the YouTube user AmericanDad1 left a detailed guide for the route in the comments section of the video, which I would greatly recommend checking out if you decide to speedrun this game. As for getting a hold of the game, most DOS games are found pretty easily online and only took me 10 seconds with a simple Google search, but you can really use any method you see fit. I'll put a $10 bounty for the first person to beat this world record. The next one on this list is a sacrifice ending speedrun of MAKEN X by THESERIOUSCACODEMON in 55 minutes and 48 seconds on September 3rd, 2007. MAKEN X is a first-person hack-and-slash game released in 1999 for the Sega Dreamcast. In this game, a sentient sword known as a MAKEN has the power to take over people's bodies. Combat generally revolves around using the sword with different characters, with the main differences being in the people you take over, which have different abilities. In this game, you also get to choose some of the characters a MAKEN controls, which leaves a lot of room for optimization based on who you choose. With all of the different options of playable characters as well as the several different endings, a faster route could surely be formed to beat this world record. So I'll be putting a $20 bounty on it since the speedrun seems decently optimized and getting a hold of the game probably won't be easy if it's not already owned. The next run on this list is any % hardest difficulty speedrun of Puyo Puyo Su in 3 minutes and 23 seconds in-game time by Shiro Manabe on March 27th, 2006. This date was most likely the date this speedrun was performed on, but there isn't any video proof online dating earlier than the video on YouTube, which was posted on July 18th, 2007, so unfortunately that's the date I had to categorize it by. But at least it was still able to make this list. For anyone that's unfamiliar with the Puyo Puyo series, it includes 1v1 puzzle games. The gameplay is similar to that of Tetris, but instead of forming a straight line, you have to match 4 blobs or more of the same color together in any kind of shape. After forming a combo, a group of garbage blobs get sent over to the other player's side. These blobs are a lot more difficult to work with since they are clear and can't be used for combos, so you have to work around them. The world record for the speedrun is extremely entertaining to watch and is one of the most skillful speedruns on this list and has stood long for good reasons. A tool-assisted speedrun also exists for this game, which beats it in a time of 1 minute and 53 seconds in-game time, which should be the fastest time possible. So for this record, I'll be placing a bounty of $50 for the first person to beat this record with a faster in-game time. As a side note, there are a few different ports of this game, including the game's Kirby's Avalanche and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Gameplay-wise, these games are exactly the same, so if you break the record on them, it will still count. The next one on this list is Secret Files Tunguska by NICKO in 1 hour 3 minutes and 53 seconds on December 20th, 2006. Secret Files Tunguska is a point-and-click adventure game which was released in 2006 for the PC. In this game, you play as the character Nino, whose father has mysteriously disappeared, and you have to play to find out what happened. The curious thing about this world record was finding valid proof that it actually happened in 2006 because the video on YouTube is dated 2014. I found that the speedrun itself isn't unhosted on what would have been the regular speedrun website hub at the time, SpeedEmma's archive, but was instead hosted by a website known as AdventureSpeedruns.com. And after checking the web archive for AdventureSpeedruns.com, I can confirm that this run is legit. As for why it hasn't been beaten in almost 12 years, probably because point-and-click speedruns aren't as popular of speed games as others, but since the release of this game, it has also been ported to the Nintendo DS, Wii, Wii U, and even Android and iOS. So if you manage to beat this game on any of these ports with video proof, you'll be a whole $10 richer. Good luck. The next one on this list is Predator 2 in 11 minutes and 39 seconds by Barrage on July 22nd, 2006. Predator 2 is an action game which was released in 1992 for the Sega Genesis. This game is meant to be a video game adaptation of the second Predator movie if that wasn't obvious enough. The gameplay honestly doesn't look too terrible, and from what I've collected from online reviews, it's especially a good game for being a movie video game, which are more common than not bad. Since this game isn't completely uncontested, it's featured on SpeedDemo's archive, and because you'll need to have a Sega Genesis in order to contend for world record, I'll put a $20 bounty on anyone who can claim the record. The next run on this list is The Dig in 33 minutes and 3 seconds by Mike on May 2nd, 2006. The Dig is known for difficult puzzles, but if you ask people in the YouTube comment sections, they'll probably tell you otherwise. So similar to my explanation for Secret Files Tunguska, the world record has probably remained uncontested for so long due to nobody being interested in running it. And if you were wondering, yes, this was also archived by AdventureSpeedruns.com, and it was archived properly. As for claiming the world record yourself, you will actually be able to run this game on emulator if you would like to, since the current world record was played on emulator. If you're wondering which emulator was used, it was ScumVM, which is normally used for playing older point-and-click video games. As for getting a hold of an ISO file, you're on your own there. The bounty for this record will be $10. The next run on this list is a 100% speedrun of Strife in 53 minutes and 26 seconds by Hidoi Midori Ryu on October 11th, 2005. Strife is a first-person shooter game which trailed off the success of its predecessors Doom and Quake and was released in 1996 for the PC. The game itself looks pretty fun, and the any percent category definitely has some activity, but the 100% category hasn't been touched in 13 years for some reason. The author for the speedrun even said that this was his first completed speedrun in the category and suggested that a 45-minute time was possible. So I'll be given a $10 bounty for the first person to take the 100% record and another $10 for the first to obtain a sub 45-minute run. The next run on this list is any percent speedrun of The Lone Ranger in 57 minutes and 23 seconds by RDRUNNER on March 1st, 2005. The Lone Ranger is an action-adventure game which was released in 1991 for the NES and is based off of the Lone Ranger TV show. Despite this game not being very popular, it actually seems like a pretty fun game with a lot of different elements including an overworld map, hub locations, and also platforming. In a speedrun of this game, you need to be conscious about a lot of things including your money, health, and ammunition. Because if you do too much overstocking or make too many trips to shops, you're going to lose time, and you'll also have to decide whether or not killing and looting certain enemies will be worth it. The only other current recorded speedrun of this game is from Arcus87, who solely streams NES games and holds the world record for Ninja Gaiden. His speedrun took him close to 3 hours though, but it was presumably his first time playing the game. So with all the elements of this game, there's going to be some level of planning that goes into taking this world record, but from what I've seen, uncontested world records on SpeedDemo's archive aren't terribly difficult to beat. I myself actually saved 35 minutes in one of the games I run in one segment over somebody's old segmented run. It just seems that over the years, speedrunning has developed into an entirely new creature, with a whole new standard for optimization. As for this world record, I'll be putting a $25 bounty on it. As for if you're allowed to play this on emulator or not, you'll have to take that up with the game's moderator. But I see emulators used a lot for NES games, so there is a possibility. Also, I will up the bounty to $35 if you wear this thing during the speedrun. The next one on this list is any percent speedrun of The Adventures of Lolo 3 in 1 hour and 23 minutes and 34 seconds by RDRUNNER on August 1st, 2004. The Adventures of Lolo 3 include deeper gameplay mechanics as well as double the amount of floors from the other games, resulting in 100 floors total. With added mechanics and floor count, this makes the game a far more difficult speedrun than its predecessors. Despite there being a few runners for The Adventures of Lolo 1 and 2, currently there isn't a representation for the third game other than this run, which has remained uncontested for 13 years. The world record holder RDRUNNER has a time submitted for the second Adventure of Lolo game as well, but was beaten pretty handily by CL Chambers by 5.5 minutes. For this reason, there should be a lot of room for improvement and optimization in the third game, especially with it being longer. I'll be putting a $20 bounty on this run since any contenders will have to learn all of the puzzles in order to compete against it. Good luck. So before we get to the number 1 longest standing speedrun world record, I would like to go over some of the honorable mentions which I'll also be including bounties for. These include speedruns which had dates which would have beaten some of the other speedruns on this list, but I couldn't find any internet archives of the runs matching the dates that were entered on speedrun.com. And that's not that I don't believe that they truly didn't do the run on a certain date, but it is the only way to verifiably make sure. The first run is any percent speedrun of Dino Crisis in 1 hour, 16 minutes and 32 seconds by LUCIANORX on November 29th, 2004. Now originally this run would have been put at the number 3 spot, but unfortunately there aren't any archives available online proving that the record was performed on that date, just that in his YouTube description that's the date shared. The reason I believe the original date is because this speedrunner has done loads of old school speedruns, but never got featured on SpeedDemo's archive until much later. But even if we just go by the date on his YouTube video, this is still definitely a very long standing world record. Despite quite a few people's attempts, still nobody has been able to beat this guy's record. There are also a few segmented runs that exist for the game, and they only beat his record by 2 minutes, which makes me believe that this record will probably take a decent amount of work to beat, which is why I'm leaving it with a bounty of $40. The next and last honorable mention on this list is a glitchless hard mode speedrun of Within a Deep Forest in 20 minutes and 59 seconds by NIFFLAS on June 20th, 2006. This world record is actually held by the developer of the game, Niklas Nygren, who is a Swedish indie video game developer who is well known for his platformers and freeware games. The reason this is listed as an honorable mention is because I couldn't find any archives online even hinting towards there being a speedrun of this game being performed at the time. The only archive of this video that exists is a YouTube video that is dated May 2012. However, because the speedrun was performed by the game's developer, who has been active in the speedrunning community, including even doing a developer commentary run of the game for Awesome Games and QUAKE 2015, I decided to include it. However, since this category is most likely made just because this run existed, I won't be offering a bounty for it. As for the last 2 runs on this list, and that is right, I did say 2 runs, but that's because the last 2 runs are held by the same person in the same game for 2 separate categories. The game is the QUAKE Mission Pack 2, Dissolution of Eternity, and the world records are the 100% speedrun on easy difficulty at 57 minutes and 14 seconds on April 21st, 2001, and the 100% speedrun on Nightmare difficulty on October 13th, 2001 by TUNGUSKA-PC. The QUAKE Mission Pack 2 was the second and last expansion pack that was made for QUAKE and came out on March 27th, 1997 for the PC. The QUAKE Mission Packs added several new levels, weapons, and enemies to the game. Despite QUAKE being one of the most popular speed games, well, at least popular speed game in the early days of speedrunning, both of these records have stood uncontested for over 16 years. What's the reason for this? Well, after speaking with Cubeface, one of the moderators for the game, he shared that nobody really runs a second mission pack for QUAKE because it's regarded as a bad speed game, and that people would rather run the main game or the first mission pack. As for beating this world record, the same year that Tim Doherty achieved these times, he also had a time of 30 minutes and 32 seconds in the easy run category. Since then, there has only been one other runner for the category named Nino. In November of 2016, he beat Tim Doherty with a time of 23 minutes and 42 seconds, almost 7 minutes faster than Tim's run. DINO also claims that this was done on his first attempt, which means that if he was able to beat the original run by so much with ease, then these 100% speedruns should also be extremely beatable as they have even more room for optimization. So hopefully just the satisfaction of beating a 16-year-old world record is enough for you, because I'll only be offering $10 each for both of these records. If the same person manages to beat both records, then I'll award a total of $25. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did because it's the easiest way to show support. Huge thanks to Sergeant Kabuki Man for making the query for Speedrun.com and making the list for this video. Also thanks to Pack for helping me out as well as founding Speedrun.com. If this is your first time learning about speedrunning and want to check out more games with their own leaderboards, head over to Speedrun.com and check them out. I was hoping in the future to do another video of this list, which is why I added the bounties to hopefully have a fresh list each year. And in the future, I may also cover individual level runs or even tied world records, so let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in lists like those. Anyways guys, that's all I have to say. Subscribe for more speedrun related content, and as always, I hope you have a beautiful life.
Phone ringing, never out, going home.